Okay, so students, remember we are still looking at linear equations in one variable. We are still looking at linear equations in one variable. And we looked at the solutions to the linear equations in one variable already. Now, for instance, we looked at an equation like 7 plus x is equal to 13. We said that this is an example of a linear equation in one variable. And then we said that we call it an equation because of equal signs. These equal signs mean that the left-hand side, this one, is equal to the right-hand side. Right-hand side. This is what it means when we put equal signs here. It means that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So we said that any number that we can write instead of x, and it makes the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side, we call that number a solution to this linear equation. Okay? For instance, if we come and say that maybe x is 2, we say that let x be 2. We want to find out if 2 is a solution to this equation. So it means that then we are going to have 7 plus x, which is 13. Then it means that we have 7 plus x, which is 2. We see if it is equal to 13. Okay. Now, you see that 7 plus 2 will give us 9. But 9 is not equal to 13. So since 9 is not equal to 13, it means that the left-hand side is not equal to the right-hand side. So it means that x equals 2 is not the solution. It is not a solution to our equation 7 plus x equals 13. But let's see if we put that x is 6. So if we say that let x be 6, then it means that since we have 7 plus x is equal to 13, and now we say that x is 6, so we shall have 7 plus 6. But 7 plus 6 will give us 13. And now you see that on the left-hand side, we have got 13, and on the right-hand side, we have got 13. So it means that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So since both sides are equal, it implies that x equals 6 is the solution. X equals 6 is the solution to our equation 7 plus x equals 13. So it means that since once we substitute 6 with x and we get 13, then x equals 6 is the solution to this equation. But now, if we keep on trying to guess, let's try 2 and find out if it is a solution. Let's try 10 if it is a solution. Let's try 6, then we see that it is a solution. This takes us a lot of time. By doing that, so we are taking a lot of time to come up with the equation, sorry, to come up with a solution. So what we do, there are some properties that we must know. So after knowing these properties, it will be easier for us to start solving linear equations without any problem, without any wastage of time. So in our today's lesson, let us look at the properties of equality. Okay. Now, our property number one that we are going to look at, we call it symmetric property. Let's call it property number one. Symmetric property. Okay. Now, for symmetric property, it says that if A is equal to B, then B is equal to A. You see, if A is equal to B, then B is equal to A. You see, when we try to apply this, we can say that, okay, if Y is equal to 12, then 12 is equal to Y. That's what it means. If Y is 12, then 12 is also Y. So that is what we call the symmetric property. If 3x plus 5 is equal to x plus 9, then x plus 9 is equal to 3x plus 5. So this shows you that what is on the left-hand side is equal to what is on the right-hand side. And that means that what is on the right-hand side is equal to what you have on the left-hand side. So that is the symmetric property. Okay. Now let's have another property. Property number 2. This one is called transitive property. Transitive property. So for this one, it says that if A is equal to B and C is equal to, and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. You see that? So it's like if we say that if 3 is equal to 9 minus 6. You see that? And 9 minus 6 is equal to 2 plus 1. You see that? 3 is equal to 9 minus 6. And 9 minus 6 is equal to 2 plus 1. So then, this means that 3 is equal to 2 plus 1. 3 is equal to 9 minus 6. 9 minus 6 is equal to 2 plus 1. Then 3 is equal to 2 plus 1. That's what we call the transitive property. To make it again easier, I can show you another example. Like if we say if x is equal to y and y is equal to 18, then it means that x is also equal to 18. You see that? If x is equal to y and y is 18, then x is equal to 18 because x is equal to y. I think you get this point. Okay, we look at property number 3. Let's look at property number 3. This one, let us call it addition property. Addition property. So this one says that if A is equal to B, okay, then A plus C is equal to B plus C. So it's like you have A is equal to B. If you get A, you add there C. It will be equal to when you get B, you add there C. Otherwise, if you do not add C to B and you only add C to A, these two things will not be equal. So what you add on the left-hand side, you must add it on the right-hand side for the equation to balance. So that's why when we added C here, we also added C here. And we can say that these two things are equal. So we call this the addition property. What you add on the left-hand side, you must add it on the right-hand side in order to have the equation balancing. Okay? I believe you understand that. Let me give you an example. If we say that 2 plus 4 equals 6. 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. You see that? Now, then, if we get 2 plus 4, on 2 plus 4, we add there 5. We must go to 6. We also add there 5. You see, it means that 2 plus 4 equals 6. And 2 plus 4 plus 5 is equal to 6 plus 5. So you see, we added 5 on the left-hand side. We are also adding 5 on the right-hand side. That is what we call the addition property. If you add 5 on the left-hand side and you don't add 5 on the right-hand side, then the addition property will not apply. And if it does not apply, it means that the equation is not balancing. And if it does not balance, it means that it is not correct. I hope that is okay. You see, even if I'm having 2 plus, let's say, 10, which is equal to 12, what I must do when I get 2 plus 10, and I add there 7, I must go on the right-hand side. I also add 7 to 12 in order for the equation to balance. That's why here, when we added 5 we also came here to add 5 to make sure that the equation is balancing. So that is what we call the addition property. Okay. We look at property number 4. This one is called subtraction property. Subtraction property. Now, this one, it says that if A is equal to B, then A minus C is equal to B minus C. That is it. A is equal to B. Then A minus C is equal to B minus C. You see that? So if I get A minus C and I don't get B minus C, it means that the left-hand side will not be equaling to the right-hand side. And it means that the equation is not balancing. You see that? So in an example, to make you understand this very well, it's like if I have, let's say, 9. I tell you that 9 is equal to, let's say, 5 plus 4. So then 9 minus 2 is equal to 5 plus 4 minus 2. You see? So when I say 9 minus 2, I must also go and get on the right-hand side, I also get 5 plus 4 minus 2. There, the equation will be balancing. Okay? If I say that I have 9, which is equal to 5 plus 4, then I get 9 minus 6. I must go on the right-hand side. I get 5 plus 4, and I also take away 6. You see? So what you subtract on the left-hand side, you must subtract it from the right-hand side in order to have the equation balancing. I hope that is also understood. So let's have property number 5. This one is called the multiplication property. Okay, so this one says that if A is equal to B, then A times C is equal to B times C. You get that? A times C is equal to B times C. So what I do on the left-hand side, I must do it on the right-hand side. So it's like if, let's say, 6 is the same as 5 plus 1, then 6 times 2 is equal to 5 plus 1 times 2. what you do on the left-hand side, you must do it on the right-hand side. So 6 times 2 is equal to 5 plus 1 times 2. That's what we call the multiplication property. Another example of this property to make you understand this very well. For instance, if I say that 7 is equal to 56 divided by 8, you see that? Then Then 7 times 2, let me use the same ink. 7 times 2 is equal to 56 out of 8 times 2. You see that? So there, the equation will be balancing very well. Another way how we can modify this property number 5, we can say that if A is equal to B, then A times 1 out of C is equal to B times 1 out of C. You see that? So if we multiply A by 1 out of C, we must also multiply B by 1 out of C. And this will give us A out of C is equal to B out of C. Okay? Yeah, we can look at this clearly in property number 6, which is called the division property. Okay, if A is equal to B, okay, and then C is not equal to 0, then A divided by C is equal to B divided by C. So if you get the left-hand side, you divide it by a number, let's say C. You must divide by that number also on the right-hand side. That's what it means. You get it? Just like if I have, let's say, we know that 10 plus 5 is equal to 15. This is our equation. So if I get 10 plus 5, I divide it by 3. I must go on the right-hand side. I get this 15. I also divide it by 3 in order to balance the whole equation. So these are the properties that are really very, very important for us to know. So number 1, we looked at the symmetric property. Number 2, transitive property. Number 3, addition property. Number 4, subtraction property. Number 5, multiplication property. Okay. And then number 6, division property. Okay. Now, let us see how these properties can be used to simplify solving linear equations in one variable. How can they make it easy for us to get the solution of the linear equation? Let us look at an example. Let's say, solve the following equations. Solve the following equations. Okay, so let's have a x plus 5 equals 6. Okay, let's have b x minus 2 equals 7. Let us have c 2x is equal to 8. Let's have d 2x minus 3 is equal to 5. And let's have e negative 5x minus 2 is equal to 13. Okay, now let's see how we can apply some of these properties to make this easier. So let's get the solutions. So we begin with part A, x plus 5 equals 6. So in our solution, remember we said that what you do on the left-hand side, you must do it on the right-hand side. And remember, when we say solve the equation, it means that get the solution of that equation. You see? So now, if we get, because we need the value of x, so we need to make sure that this 5 is taken away. We don't have it there. So we can say that x plus 5 minus 5 is equal to 6 minus 5. Now, this is what we are talking about. When I take away 5 from here, I must come and take away 5 from here in order to have the equation balancing. I think you can see that it's a very, very important point of this lesson. Okay? Now, 5 minus 5 will give us 0. So this means that on the left-hand side, we remain with x. And now, 6 minus 5 will give us 1. So, therefore, x equals 1 is the solution to our equation. If you want to check, let's check here. X plus 5 equals 6. You see? Now, assume that we have already got x as 1. So instead of writing x, write 1. 1 plus 5 is equal to 6. 6 is equal to 6. You see, the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So it means that our answer is correct. You see that? So what property have you used here when you have subtracted 5 from both sides? This one here and this one here. You see, that is the subtraction property. Okay, and now when you are solving these equations, when you have a positive, you will use a minus so that you get a 0. If you get a 0, that's when you are going to get x. You understand? That's when you will make x the subject of the formula. So that's why we use minus, so that on the left-hand side, we only have x. Okay. Part B, we have x minus 2 plus 7. Now, for us to get 0 here, so that we remain with x alone, so that we remain with x alone on the left-hand side, we must use plus. So what are we going to add? So we have x minus 2 plus 2, so that we can get a 0 here. But this is equal to 7 plus 2. Because we added 2 here, we must also add 2 here in order to have both sides balancing. Now, minus 2 plus 2, that is 0. Now we remain with x. You see? Now, x is equal to 7 plus 2, which is 9. So you can see that here we have applied, the addition property. Okay? So note that if you have minus, like minus 2, you will use plus 2. But that plus 2 must be done on both sides. Okay? We are doing that so that we remain with x alone on the left-hand side, so that we come up with our solution. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's check this. Let's check. If you have x minus 2 is equal to 7. Now, instead of writing x, write 9. 9 minus 2 is equal to 7. So 7 is equal to 7. So you can see that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So it implies that our answer is correct. Okay. Now let's have another example. We get part C. 2x is equal to 8. 2x is equal to 8. This is part C. Okay. So if we have 2x is equal to 8, and we need x alone, so we can divide by 2 on both sides. You see that? So if we divide 2x by 2, we are going to get 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So on the left-hand side, we are remaining with 1x. 1x is the same as x. Now, on the right-hand side, you have 8 divided by 2, which is 4. So quickly, you see that the value of x is 4. Now, you see that by dividing by 2 here and dividing by 2 here, we are using the division property. I hope you can get that. And now, to check this, we have seen that 2x is equal to 8. So x is 4. So we are getting 2 times x, which is 4, is equal to 8. And you see that 2 times 4 is 8, which is the same as 8 on the right-hand side. So it implies that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So our answer is correct. The solution of this equation is 4. Okay. We are going to get the other two remaining examples. So let's have D. Part D, we have 2x minus 3 is equal to 5. Okay. Now, since we have minus 3, okay, since it is minus 3, we are going to use plus 3. So this means that we are going to have 2x minus 3 plus 3. But also on the right-hand side, we must get 5 plus 3. And note that minus 3 plus 3, this will give us a 0. So that on the left-hand side, we remain with 2x. And on the right-hand side, we have 5 plus 3, which is 8. You see? Remember, we need the value of x. So it means that we have not finished. So, since we have 2x is equal to 8, in order to remain with x alone here, we can divide it by 2. But if we divide it by 2 on the left-hand side, we must also divide by 2 on the right-hand side. So that we are having 2 divided by 2, which is 1, and we remain with x alone. You see that? Now, on the right-hand side, you have 8 divided by 2, which is 4. You see that? Now, here we used two properties. At this point, we used the addition property. Okay? And at this point, we used the division property. Okay? And finally, we got our answer as 4. Now, let's check if this is really correct. Remember, we have 2x minus 3 is equal to 5. And we know x is 4. So you're having 2 times 4 minus 3. We want to see if this is equal to 5. So 2 times 8, 2 times 4, that is 8. 8 minus 3. So 8 minus 3 is equal to 5 on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we also have 5. So you see that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, which means that our solution is correct. So x equals 4 is the solution to the equation 2x minus 3 equals 5. We look at the final example, which is part E. So for part E, we have minus 5x minus 2 is equal to 13. Okay, so now, since we have got minus 2 here, so it means that we are going to use plus. So we get minus 5x minus 2 plus 2 is equal to 13 plus 2. Now, when we have minus 2 plus 2, this will give us a 0. So it means that on the left-hand side, we remain with minus 5x, which is equal to 13 plus 2. 13 plus 2 gives us 15. Okay? Now, since we need to know the value of x, we can divide on both sides by negative 5. You see that? Can you note that here we are using addition property? Addition property. then here we are using division property. You see, you add 2 on the left hand side, you add 2 on the right hand side. You divide by negative 2 on the left hand side, you divide by negative 5 on the left hand side, you also divide by negative 5 on the right hand side. So what you do on the left hand side, you must do it on the right hand side in order to make sure that the equation keeps on balancing. Now, if you get negative 5, you divide it by negative 5, you know that that will be a positive of 1. Because a negative divided by negative, you get a positive. So negative 5 divided by negative 5, you will get 1. So that is 1x, which is the same as x. So 15 divided by negative 5, you will get negative 3. So negative 3 becomes our solution. I believe you have understood this. If you want to check, you can go ahead and check. So let's check it together and see. Let's check. Negative 5x minus 2 is equal to 13. So we get negative 5 times x, which is negative 3, minus 2. We get 13 on the right-hand side. So negative 5 times negative 3, we get 15. And 15 minus 2, you will see that we are getting 13 on both sides. The left-hand side is 13, even on the right-hand side is 13. So it means that our solution is correct. So we are stopping here for today.